Hey guys, welcome to Pure Evil MMA. Here with your host, Evil Eddie Vallejo, joined here with my boy and my co-host,
Matthew Mizuko.
And the beautiful, the wonderful, lovely
Andrea Jablonski.
You can find me on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. So let's get things started for today. Big news this week: Tony Ferguson drops out of his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov. What the hell is going on? Of all people to drop out of that fight, it's Tony Ferguson.
Khabib is still on the card.
There's
still time. There's a week. Khabib can drop off this fight. He can get injured. Likely, yes.
Unfortunately, I really thought if it was going to be an injury, I thought it was going to be Khabib. Honestly, he hasn't fought in a while.
There's still time.
He hasn't fought in quite some time, and now they're going to make him fight a low-list fighter, somebody that's not really up there on the ranks, kind of like a welcome back. You kind of see them doing this in boxing. He's a welcome back kind of fight.
This is his debut in the UFC, and he gets Khabib.
Well, it's good. We can get him in there, get Khabib a paycheck, get him started, and then get. Imagine him on the New York card.
I get it. They didn't want to ruin the fight that Cerrone already has with Cote or whatever.
Well, yeah. Let's tell everybody about that really quick. During the week, while this was going on, we were everyone was guessing about who was gonna fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. So on Twitter, we saw Cowboy Donald Cerrone running his lips, saying, "I'll take the fight, you pussy," calling him a pussy, calling him all this junk. And so that's what we thought. That's what we thought we were gonna get, and they threw us a kind of a curveball, which now I kind of get why they kind of did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, when he said it, he said he would take the fight, but only if his other fight was still on.
Yeah.
And, if there's a medical suspension or something, you can't guarantee Cowboy's not going to be injured in that fight. For all you know, Cowboy might lose that fight, in which case the fight with Cote may be a little...
Cowboy coming off the win of the Brazilian Cowboy, that was pretty epic. Yeah. But before that, lost to RDA. So, of course...
But now he's at welterweight. He did look to get overpowered a little by...
Imagine that fight, though. Khabib versus Cowboy. That would have been an awesome fight.
Oh, he wanted it for so long, and there was always the injuries and everything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be everybody that Cowboy has rivalries with. Anthony Pettis kept getting injured. They finally fight, and, didn't end so well for Cowboy. But
so I really hope that everything goes Khabib's way in this fight. As of now, obviously, I'm going to pick Khabib to win. And
yeah, clearly.
Honestly, I really hope that he comes out of that fight clean, doesn't get injured, so we can see the Tony Ferguson versus Nurmagomedov fight.
Or it's only rumor now, but there's always, if he comes out, goes up against RDA, get that one more fight that UFC 200 needs.
Yeah.
Or even maybe just a UFC 201, because, everybody forgets there's life after UFC 200.
And those are still all huge cards.
Yeah.
200,
209, the Diaz brothers pay-per-view.
That would be sick.
That's what I want.
Well, also talking about shit talk, we're going to jump ahead really quick. Last week, DC dropped out of the fight with John Bones. We already talked about this. John Bones got pulled over, all that. He went to jail, and then he got, enlisted probation, has all these new things that he has to do. And so we were all wondering who his next opponent was going to be. It was OSP, Odin St. Preux. So DC on Ariel Helwani, the MMA Hour on Monday, went on there and he was saying that he was offering OSP a full paid fight camp at AKA, that he was going to try to help him. So Jones went to Twitter with, "Daniel, just please explain to us all why you would help OSP if you truly want to fight me and legitimize yourself as the champion," meaning pretty much why this is a possible opponent. If he beats me, he's going to be fighting you, man. Right?
Not to mention, you're helping him to beat me. It just makes it seem like you don't want to fight me. If you're going to go that far to help my opponent, you really don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
That's how that comes off to me, at least.
Yeah.
As far as Cormier, he's saying he wants to fight before the New York card, so before November. So, what do you got going? You got Jones at 197, wins, comes out unscathed. Do they go before the New York card, or?
That would be awesome. I think the stage is definitely set up for a New York card against John Bones versus DC. Unfortunately, the fight UFC 197 was supposed to be on this girl's birthday, the wonderful, the beautiful Andrea Jablonski. What's your take on this whole DC John Bones thing going on right now? You've seen the police video, the police camera, where John Jones kind of got a little mouthy, started running his mouth a little bit. He ended up going to jail, and this fight was supposed to be on your birthday. Now, there's people out there who bought these tickets as anniversary presents. They bought these tickets, as birthday presents for somebody, and now everyone wanted to see the return of John Bones. So John Bones went to YouTube saying he's trying to save this fight, and they give him OSP. Are you still excited? It's on your birthday still. He saved for the fight, but it's not against DC.
I'm definitely still excited. I personally haven't seen him fight live, so I think that'll be really exciting to see, especially on my birthday.
Especially on your birthday.
And the day before that, I get to go see a fight too, so it'll be an exciting weekend for me. But yeah, I'm not happy that DC is out of the fight. I'm definitely looking forward to. I hope that we can see that fight. I'm rooting for John Jones, but.
So you have John Bones in the OSP fight winning?
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
Of course.
And of course, I'm obviously going to say that John Bones is going to take OSP in this fight. But not to mention, OSP is an amazing fighter for those of us.
Don't get me wrong, OSP is a beast. I just think John Jones is. I mean, if anything, he looks to be even more impressive than before he got arrested. Like, he's bigger, stronger, and I mean, there's no way you got guys like Cormier is like, oh, well, he's going to lose all that speed. It's like, I'm pretty sure he's got plenty to give over you.
Well, I definitely see Bones being having a better cardio, better, in the later rounds. I mean, that division is definitely stacked. OSP is 19-7, 6th ranked, light heavyweight, really good at wrestling, conditioning, very amazing striker with wins over Cummings and Shogun Rua with his, I think it was a 34-second knockout.
Yep, as well as Cavalcanti.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he also has losses to Ryan Bader. He loved to Glover Teixeira in the main event in his hometown of Tennessee. I think he played college football for Tennessee or something like that. But he has 3 submissions. He lost in round 3 of that fight by submission in Nashville against Glover Teixeira. And then he came back and he won his most recent fight.
Yeah, it was against Cavalcanti.
So now we see him versus John Bones. And also, again, it's kind of like a warm-up fight, but is it even fair to kind of say that? I mean,
you can't just.
We don't know what to expect from him right now. We don't know what to expect from John Bones, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't overlook OSP, but
definitely, John Bones definitely has a lot of drive right now, and even he said that his coaches don't like him taking fights, like when people drop out of the fight. So I feel like he definitely, to take the fight, he owes it to his fans, but also must feel confident.
He did that video.
Definitely has confidence in himself and has that drive to want to fight.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that John Bones has heart. And I'm not trying to glorify John Bones. I'm not saying everything that he does is right. But he's saving UFC 197 for all of his fans.
And that cop clearly, I mean,
was kind of giving him a hard time.
That's way overkill.
It was at the end of the month. He was trying to meet his quota.
Yeah, right. 5 tickets is ridiculous for possibly drag racing, which drag racing just meant he revved his engine before he took off.
Didn't even speed.
How are you racing if you're not speeding? I don't get that. But anyways, 5 tickets is clearly overkill. So they're just making it like, oh my God, look at John Jones in trouble again. If he got a speeding ticket, would they have been harassing him? Nope. John Jones gets a speeding ticket. Okay, who cares?
Well, the cops saw immediately that there was Intoxilock in his car, which if you guys don't know what Intoxilock is, it's if you've been pulled over for a DUI, you have to blow in it, and if you blow an alcohol level, it's going to start beeping, the horn's going to start to alert people around you that you're drinking.
Carl even shut off.
So as soon as he saw that, he was like, well, he was revving his engine. What am I going to bust him for? Drag racing. 35-mile-an-hour area.
I guess he revved his engine. Okay, I get that, but that's
in a car like that, though, my point.
Fans maybe rev just to say, hey, what up? Like, show off in front of fans. It's not like he would put anybody in danger. It's not like he was speeding. It wasn't a big deal. So now, it's good that they let him still fight. They didn't, but violate his probation.
Well, it was kind of like, oh my God, when we first heard of it, we were like, oh no, not again. This can't be happening.
Every time it's with him, it's always a big story. I mean, first was the cocaine.
But it was kind of cool that
even that the cocaine, not to condone use of cocaine at any point, but he came back from the day he comes back or whatever, like 2 days after he comes back from Brazil, vacation. He's on vacation, like enjoying his life. He comes back and they test him. He got cocaine metabolites, trace amounts of cocaine. Guy's on vacation, got tons of money. He did a little tiny bit of cocaine. All of a sudden, everybody's showing pictures of him looking like Tony Montana.
I love the memes that they throw out there.
Yeah, those memes were hilarious. I loved it too. I mean, I'm a fan, but still, I thought it was hilarious. But
all right, so moving on, Pure Evil MMA. In case you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to Pure Evil MMA with your host Eddie Evil, and I'm here joined with my co-host
Matthew Mazzucco,
and of course the wonderful, the lovely, the beautiful
Andrea Jablonski.
You can find me on Twitter at evil_echo. And thanks for tuning in, guys. So moving on, big news this week. Holly Holm is not getting the rematch versus Tate at UFC 100. In fact, she's going to be fighting Amanda Nunes.
I agree with this.
So
I agree with this.
This was a good decision. And this isn't going to be the co-main event. That's still be announced.
I get the fight the fans want, but go by what it should be. For once,
she deserves
go by what it should be. Holly Holm does not deserve a rematch. She's
never defended the title.
Yeah, she didn't have any defenses. One beat over Ronda Rousey.
And that was Misha's point.
Like, so, you got to be at least one win away.
I think Holly deserves to fight Ronda again.
Yeah, well, that fight they're going to save, I'm sure, but...
Maybe not Misha. I mean, I understand
that. I mean, the title shot. I don't think she deserves it.
That you don't just give out rematches for no reason, but I feel like she definitely deserves to fight Ronda again. And I'm happy that Misha's not just going straight to Ronda right now.
We don't know when, but it's coming. We don't know who Ronda's next opponent's going to be.
Let's remember the same night that Misha Tate won the belt, Nunes won, called her out. She had a big win. I don't remember who'd she fight. But anyways, big win, called her out. Everybody was all high on her. They're like, she deserves it. She should go next if Ronda's not ready for Holly Holm. All of a sudden, Holly Holm loses. Nobody expected that, except for you. Yep. But nobody expected that. So, they want the rematch. You don't get it just from beating Ronda Rousey.
No, you don't get the rematch if you've never defended the title. You do not get that.
Especially if Jose Aldo doesn't.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Jose Aldo doesn't get it, but he does. Especially
Jose Aldo has 7 title defenses.
In the point of, it seems to be the era of we're going to do all rematches.
I know, with all these rematches.
And Jose
Aldo getting the rematch.
The longest reigning current champion up until that fight.
And the only featherweight champion in the UFC.
UFC history. I mean, the last one from WEC, with all these big wins. I mean, he backs out of some fights a lot, but...
Well, he has huge wins in WEC. That 8-second...
the 8-second Cub Swanson
knockout.
The brutal beating he put on Uriah Faber's legs.
He couldn't even walk after
he couldn't even walk, being carried back to his corner. Mike Brown, I mean... what was it? Manny Gambarian fighting?
Yeah, Manny Gambarian.
Yeah.
Who was the winner?
Since he came to the UFC, it's been even worse. Frankie Edgar, who's about to fight again at UFC 200. Chad Mendes twice.
Yeah, that was brutal. The first fight was so
Chad
brutal.
Mendes twice. This first one, there was some controversy, but beating with him, that brutal beatdown he put on Hominick, where he looked like something out of The Hills Have Eyes.
That was crazy. Yeah, but getting back to what we were saying. No. This is the point. If Aldo doesn't get that rematch, how does Holly get that rematch? How are these? You know what I mean? So Ronda Rousey is definitely going to be fighting for the championship belt, no matter what, when she's coming back, which is going to be against Misha Tate.
You're counting on Nunes already.
Well, yeah.
Nunes could also be Ronda doesn't come back to the end of the year, and
which she's not supposed to do. She's not supposed to be coming back to the very
Misha or Nunes is already healthy again to fight before then. You never know.
I think UFC did an amazing job picking this fight. I definitely agree with the matchup, and I really think that Tate versus Nunes is going to be an amazing battle, and I'm going to take Tate in this fight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tate. I think she proved taking down Holly on that whole second round, and then at the end of the fight, clearly shows when Ronda couldn't get her down. Ronda tried with everything she could and got made to look like an amateur.
Yeah.
And Misha went almost 5 full rounds with her and then finished her.
Yeah. Everyone was expecting a lot from Holly Holm because she beat Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
And she didn't live up to that hype, unfortunately. And another big news, Cyborg in the UFC, we talked about this last time, against Leslie Smith at UFC 198. That's going to be an amazing fight to look forward to. Also, big news, the new season of The Ultimate Fighter, Season 23, is going to be starting April 20th with coaches Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha. In their last fight, Matt, tell us what happened in their last fight. Claudia Gadelha.
You mean when Gadelha caught her at the end of that round?
Yep, she ended up giving her a cheap shot and tried to apologize.
It wasn't really a cheap shot. I mean, it was shortly, maybe a couple seconds, which is more than
and she kind of looked like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But
so
it was late.
I feel like she said it kind of after Joanna was like, what the hell, though? I feel like it.
But I mean,
she wouldn't have apologized. I don't know. I feel like she did.
If the ref doesn't actually jump in between, you got adrenaline going. You're fighting.
The ref definitely jumped in, and then she went around the ref. Remember?
I'm pretty sure.
She went around. She went around the ref. That's why I was like, what? So it was like, oh my God, like how is that an accident? That was.
I'd have to rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure it looked like Joanna kind of hit her before the bell, so she went to hit her after. No, Claudia went to hit her back after, but knew the bell had already rang. So still went to hit her, but.
So this sets up a perfect rivalry for coaches on the new season of Ultimate Fighter. You guys can check that out on FS1 every Wednesday. In my region, it's 271 over here close to New York. Definitely check that out. We'll be going week to week with season episode updates of what went on in that episode and discuss everything. Also, we got UFC Ultimate Fighter Season 24 that was just announced. In this season, we're going back uprooting old ideas where they're going to be making the winner of that season go against the flyweight champion, who is either going to be Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson or Henry Cejudo. And I'm pretty sure Mighty Mouse is going to be the coach. So we definitely got that to look forward to. What do you think about this idea, first off? Is this a good idea? The flyweight division is you know what I mean?
I think they should have done this.
Benavidez fight. You know what I mean? He has what, 7?
You're just gonna keep cycling through it. The whole point of this is if Demetrius runs through Cejudo, he's cleared out that division.
Exactly.
So this is the last shit. After this, I'm sorry, you got to move up. I know you.
He has what, 7 title defenses?
He's cleared out everybody. I mean, anybody that he's gonna fight is just gonna be a rematch.
Yep.
So after this, I say go.
Also, he's the lowest selling pay-per-view champion the UFC has right now, which is definitely a huge problem. And unfortunately,
you're talking about Demetrius.
Yeah, I don't get it. People don't like him, and I love watching his fights. The fights with John Dodson, you can't even blink at it. It's so fast. It's so much exciting. I guess they don't have the pure power that you see in the heavyweights, but I really don't know why people don't like these fights. These are some of my favorite fights.
Yeah, same here, man.
Whip around the cage.
Yeah, they're fast as can be.
And mentioning it's going to be Mighty Mouse versus Henry Cejudo at UFC 197 on April 23rd under the John Bones OSP card. So make sure you guys tune in for that too. We'll be doing a roundup as well. And make sure you guys keep listening because at the end of the show, we're going to be talking about UFC in Croatia, Ben Rothwell versus JDS, and we'll be going through our fight predictions for that fight. So next, we're going to be talking about UFC 200. And so far, UFC 200, we got the main event, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. We got that as the main event. We do not know what the co-main event is going to be yet. We still have that to be announced. We got Aldo versus Edgar, Cain Velasquez versus Travis Brown, Hendricks versus Kelvin Gastelum, Gegard Mousasi versus Brunson, Diego Sanchez versus J-Lo.
Oh, and you got the Kate versus Nunes.
Yep.
You don't have that list there. That's on that card.
Yep, and the goal for UFC 200, UFC 100 sold 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. UFC 196 did 1.5 million pay-per-view buys, which 196 was obviously headed by McGregor Diaz, who was the headline for UFC 200. So any fight under that, you got Aldo and Edgar on there amazing matchup. It's going to be for an interim belt. What's your thought on that?
No, I hate interim belts just like they do.
Yep.
Even Aldo doesn't like the
I don't
interim
think
belt
it's
idea.
fair. I mean, I think it's definitely going to be a good fight.
How are you going to give McGregor the rematch?
Fighters, but it's not fair.
How is McGregor going to get that rematch?
No reason they should be fighting. There's no reason Aldo should have to fight.
Stuff in Aldo's face. That's an insult to Aldo.
And to say that
exciting fight, but
they tried to convince him not to do the rematch like that.
It wasn't going to be at 145. It was going to be at 155.
Why is it he gets to call the shots and you have to try to convince him not to? You think every fighter doesn't say, "Oh, I'm going to fight the champion"? If they say, and they have to try to convince him, no,
it's complete BS. Complete BS. They gave Aldo the rematch against Conor McGregor, but it was going to be at 155 pounds instead of his regular 145 featherweight.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. This is part 2 of Pure Evil MMA here with your host, Evil Eddie. You can find me on Twitter at evil_echo. Here I'm joined with my co-host,
Matthew Mizuko,
and the beautiful, wonderful, lovely
Andrea Jablonski.
So where we left off was we were talking about UFC 200 and Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, and then we started talking about Aldo versus Edgar, and why it's kind of not fair and kind of like an FU in Aldo's face that he's not getting the rematch, and Conor and Nate are going to be fighting on the UFC 200 biggest brand.
Also, to show that it's the McGregor show. So far we have 2 title fights: the Tate versus Nunes and the Aldo versus Edgar, both for a belt.
Yep.
Are going underneath McGregor versus Diaz, who aren't fighting for a belt. How does that work? How do you not put a title fight ahead of it?
Popular demand.
Kara Bryant also said that there's supposed to be another title fight to be announced. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Condit versus Lawler? Who's it going to be?
I'd love to see Lawler Condit, but I want to see that on its own card.
Yeah, well,
that would get so.
Yeah, that would be a big fight.
That's a fight I really want to see.
Also, I think there's something going on with Carlos Condit's eye. I think I read something about that, so that might be.
Sure, I know he didn't want to take any other fight but the rematch. But
UFC 200, the co-main event, hasn't been announced yet. So
the other one I was saying could be after next week's Khabib card. If Khabib gets out of that unscathed,
that would be amazing.
Khabib versus RDA.
Khabib Nurmagomedov versus RDA. That's definitely a headlining event. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
On its own. And RDA isn't really that big of a name for a selling champion.
Yeah, that'd probably be a Fox card because hardcore fans know Khabib, but Khabib, like the most casual fans, can't even pronounce Nurmagomedov. They're Nurma what? What's that? Yeah.
So also on that card we got Cain Velasquez against Travis Brown. Travis Brown's coming off a win to Matt Mitrione, who recently signed to Bellator, and he's also hooking up with Ronda Rousey on the side as well, and beefing with Brendan Schaub on the fighter and the kid. But I love this fight. Cain Velasquez coming back. He's gonna be fighting Travis Brown. It's gonna be definitely a knockout, either first or second round, I think. And
that depends. I think Cain has the wrestling to hold down Travis Brown.
If he doesn't get poked in the eye 5 times, right? Who do you have on that fight? Are you a big Cain fan?
I'm not a big Cain fan, and I'm actually a Travis Brown fan. I like Cain, but I'm not like a hardcore fan. But I'm giving this one to Cain.
Oh, you're giving it to Cain?
I think Travis Brown is a really good fighter, but I just think Cain is on another level. And if it wasn't for that
he's an AKA with DC
one
and all
fight that you saw, I mean, don't get me wrong, if he comes out like he did against Verdum, he's in trouble.
Oh yeah, big time.
He's in trouble. That was horrible.
That was ugly.
I don't know how that happened. It basically reminded me of when he beat up Dos Santos those 2 times, which was just horrible.
Those are definitely rough to watch.
That changed Dos Santos' life, and if
he definitely got knocked around a couple too many times.
If that's how Cain is now. Some said it was.
God forbid.
Because it was in Mexico, right?
Yep.
So some say it was the elevation. Maybe that's why. But Cain's always been known to have a gas tank. So, for him to tire out that bad that quickly, if he does anything like that, Travis Brown has power. He can hurt him.
Oh yeah. Either way, in that division, anytime any one of those guys throw a punch, it could be life changing pretty much for any fighter.
But I'll go with Cain to win that fight.
Also, Evil Boy going with Kane, and Angie Jabs going with Kane. Under that, and we don't know the direct order of this, they're all null right now. We also have Johnny Hendricks versus Kelvin Gastelum on that card. Hendricks coming off that awful loss to the Wonder Boy, and he's also going to be fighting soon against Rory McDonald. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be an amazing fight.
That's going to be a crazy fight.
But Hendricks versus Gastelum.
Well, first off, let's make sure these two make weight, because this is supposed to be a welterweight fight.
There's a lot of problems with
Both
Hendricks.
of them have had problems.
Yep.
Well, Gastelum several times. Mm-hmm. He's bounced around too, but
in the fight with Magny, I don't think he made weight too.
Yeah, so let's see if they can make weight to even call this a welterweight bout. But Hendricks was always the one shot away, and after that brutal beatdown he took from Thompson, I don't know.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm gonna pick Hendricks to win this fight.
Yeah,
I think Gastelum's main thing.
I think it's a good matchup for him too.
He's bulkier, so he's always been able to push his weight onto people and push his way through him. And I think Hendricks just is still that big of a guy where it's not going to really his one,
Well, Matt, it looks like I'm not going to disagree with you on many of these fight picks tonight,
we
man.
did the 2 picks for the first 2. Who do you got for Aldo Edgar?
Aldo versus Edgar. Well, like I said, you guys can check me out on Pro Wrestling Authority, where I did a radio show with them last Sunday, where I actually got to talk about this. You can find that on my Facebook or on my Twitter at Evil_Echo ECCO, where I actually made this pick, and unfortunately, I have to go with Aldo. But only reason I'm saying unfortunately is because I really think Edgar's doing really good. He just beat Chad Mendes. What? You just beat Chad Mendes, who is a very tough opponent.
Yeah.
And, Aldo just coming off that 13-second loss to Conor McGregor, but I really want to see him come back.
I really want to see him come back. I'm clearly, as you saw earlier, I'm a big fanboy of Aldo, but I'm going to go with Edgar on this.
Yeah? No way, man.
I can't believe I'm saying, unless,
Dude, I got this recording right now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to call this back
horrible.
To you, dude.
This is horrible, but I just think Edgar is going to be, pushing to...
he's going to be looking dangerous.
Edgar wants to prove.
He's been.
Yeah. I see Edgar as a whole other beast from what he was when he first fought Aldo.
Yeah, when he knocked out Mendes, that was great.
Yeah, I never saw that coming. Knocked out
I didn't see that.
Everyone was saying.
Knocked the hell out of me.
That night, everybody was saying it's either going to be Mendes by knockout in the first or second round, or it's going to be Frankie by decision. Nobody gave Frankie the benefit of the doubt that he has that knockout power. And he dropped Chad Mendes, who Conor McGregor was his toughest opponent to date before Diaz. That's very impressive.
Well, a lot of people were saying that he fought too soon after Conor, that's why it was easy to knock him out so quickly.
He didn't have enough recovery
time, but I don't know.
That's a good point. After a knockout, you should definitely get a little rest up.
Yeah.
So, are you saying Edgar or Aldo?
Oh, I'm definitely going for Edgar. I mean, no, Aldo.
Oh.
No, I didn't say that. I got Aldo.
All right, so you guys heard it here first.
Aldo and I took Edgar. Wow.
Edgar, Aldo.
McGregor Diaz.
And this is the biggest Aldo fan I know, guys. So, come on. I mean, this is a tough pick for even me right now. I mean, I don't know what to say. And what about...
I'm hoping Aldo wins.
I would really love to see Aldo come back and beat McGregor and get his belt back. That interim belt he's not too happy about.
That's my high hopes.
I love McGregor, but that would be awesome to see.
I feel bad even picking against him, but in honest opinion, I think
Frankie was looking sharp in that last fight, no doubt.
And he got McGregor, Diaz.
Okay, so now the main event, we know this for sure, is going to be Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz in the rematch. Mind-blowing. So the last fight, we all watched it. Hopefully you guys watched it. If you didn't, oh my God, you missed a historic night. Called it that night. And what happened was in the first round, Conor McGregor comes out, busts Diaz up. Diaz starts gushing blood out of his eye. Next round, Conor gasses out, gets stocked and slapped, stumbles back up against the cage, falls to his back, and gets choked out. Over. Done.
What happened was...
oh my God, it's over!
A little more to it than that. You see every time McGregor hits Nate's that cocky, like he puts his hand out like what? That's nothing. So he hits McGregor, and McGregor tries to do it at first, and he's like, yeah, I can take this, and then Nate hits him with a shot, and you see like.
And it's just a dead stare.
Even Rogan like knows it. He hurt him, and like he starts to stumble over, and
he gets up over
Nate starts to hit him, and he goes for the takedown because he panics. Like he always says, like he's always said, people, they panic, and that's when they become wrestlers.
They panic. Yep.
That's when they become wrestlers, and that's what he did. He went for it, and you can't go on the ground.
Yep, he gave up. And this is going to be the rematch. Apparently, Conor McGregor has been absolutely obsessed with making this rematch. It's going to be at 170 pounds. Conor apparently did say he would have fought at 155, but it's going to be at 170 again. Is Conor going to have the gas to...
Well, now he's probably been walking around at a much more comfortable weight than he... When he...
He looked amazing.
Did he even hit 170, or was he like 168?
He was 168.
Now he's probably put on a little more because now he knows he can cut a little.
Yeah.
Problem is he going to be able to cut down to 145 afterwards and go up against the winner of Aldo Edgar?
If Dana White says that Conor McGregor is obsessed with something, it's probably really serious. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
So it's going to be an amazing fight. I really don't want to say it, but I think Diaz might win. But I'm sticking with Conor McGregor. You're not going to hear evil Eddie pick against Conor McGregor anytime soon.
You just did. You just said it.
What about you?
Well, Conor's, I never go against him. I obviously love when he wins. I want to see him win. But I love Diaz too. I wanted Conor to win that last fight, but part of me feels like Diaz really hasn't been given the opportunities that he really deserves. I mean, I know he has been given opportunities and has lost fights, but still, he's never had a pay-per-view or any of that. I don't know. Whatever. But other than that, I think he deserved that, and I was happy to see him win. But for this fight,
McGregor?
I definitely think Conor has it in him. I definitely think that he can beat Nate, but I don't know. I also think that Nate.
You gotta pick one.
I
gotta pick one.
Part of me wants to say that like I just want Conor to get his ass whooped for not letting it go and like doing the right thing. It's just like he wants to prove that he can beat him, and it's like I know he can, but I understand that, but it's like.
You think Nate's gonna win?
I want him to win.
Are you trying to say you think Nate's gonna win?
She won't.
No, I think Conor's gonna win. I wouldn't be mad if he lost because.
So your answer is Conor?
Conor, yeah. I can't go against him.
Alright, so Conor.
I'm going with Nate.
Nate.
I'm going with Nate.
Conor. So 2 on Conor, 1 on Nate.
So much for matching everything. We started off.
Well, UFC 200. Here's another huge thing about UFC 200. What's going to be the co-main event? Like this is absolute madness. Dana White says it's going to be mind blowing. So who could? What would be mind blowing?
I would think that Aldo Edgar was enough. So it's got to be something. There's always the possible return of GSP. Does he come back?
Yep.
Is it at UFC 200? Is
against
it? Who's he fighting? Could be Nick Diaz.
Imagine.
That would be great. But I mean, GSP versus Lawler.
Of Nick Diaz if it was.
I don't think GSP should go for the belt when he comes back.
No.
Unless
he doesn't want to come back.
He doesn't want
He said he didn't
want to. So that's why I was saying GSP versus Lawler. I think he just needs big fights.
He doesn't want to step on rules.
Is there GSP versus Anderson Silva? If Anderson comes out of 198 unscathed, do they finally make that happen? I got to imagine that's not going to happen, but I mean, we'll see.
Back early.
Well, Kenny Florian on The Fighter and the Kid with Brendan Schaub was quoted saying about GSP, he's coming back this year, around the end of this year. It won't be UFC 200, but I think after that he will be aiming for the New York card. So we need to talk about this. MMA has just been legalized in New York. So there's been a couple fights that have been setting the stage for this. I really think that John Bones versus DC, perfect stage setup. DC is now injured.
DC doesn't want to do that though. He doesn't want to wait that long. He says
for the New York card.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't want to wait till the New York Madison Square Garden. He wants to fight sooner than that.
What about Weidman, New York? He was
Also, what about
Weidman would definitely be if he
definitely he wants
if he
that.
beats Rockhold, I would see him going up against the winner of the Jacare fight.
That'd be cool.
Also, CM Punk on the New York.
CM Punk.
I think that would be a good fight pass opening for that night.
I think that would be a good WWE Network opening. Go back. Nobody wants you anymore. You fizzled out. Over.
So yeah. Also,
I know they gotta let Mickey Gall fight somebody. Like, stop making him wait for CM Punk.
I mean, I think everyone's kind of losing interest in the CM Punk.
They went from Dana White looking for a fight.
I mean, you made a really good point, Matt.
Please just let me fight.
Matt made a really good point to me. He told me a couple weeks ago what they should have done is not told everybody that CM Punk was going to be fighting as soon as they did. They should have had him training, getting ready, and then once they had like a couple videos, a couple of matches, you know what I mean? Made sure that he really wanted to do this, that he was all heart, his whole heart was in there. That then they would announce it and be like, okay. CM Punk's going to be coming in. Look at this video, and kind of make it. Now it kind of seems they just be making us wait and wait. And
I definitely don't think he realized
Mateo
how much work it would take.
Matt told me that he had he's like over 16 at the gym or something. That's what you told me.
That was one of the articles I saw. Was that they've done like 15 or 16 like mock fights, and he's lost.
And he's lost all of them.
Oh yeah, I heard.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the exact article, but something like that.
I just don't think he was prepared for. I think he was just like, oh yeah, I want to be a UFC fighter. I don't think he really thought about the work that goes into.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a battle with the UFC signing him. We want to beat out, make sure Bellator doesn't get him.
Yeah.
I think there should have been a way, make sure he was ready to fight before you sign him. But because there was the whole, oh no, Bellator is going to sign him because they still have that pro wrestling audience.
Nervous after Mickey Gall.
They have the pro wrestling audience because it was on Spike.
Yeah.
And they have TNA and everything. So CM Punk would fit right in there.
Yeah.
Along with
I think so,
spectacle
man.
Fights,
the way they come out and everything.
I hate their spectacle fights, but
when
you don't look at spectacle fights, you have some great fights. Like you look at Liam McGarry, you look at Will Brooks, Mike Chandler. You got a lot of big names that are. I mean, they're not big names, but you got a lot
Wonderful.
of. Well, yeah, you got the UFC guys all coming over. Ben Henderson. Well, that's the other thing I don't really like is Bellator is just they're
Rampage.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's about to fight again, but they're basically kissing the former UFC guys' asses, giving them all the big fights, and it's like.
Well, Scott Coker just is trying to kind of take a different aim on it, and they actually the Freak Show, the Kimbo Slice versus Dada. Dada just came out saying that. He had like 2 heart attacks, and actually he really did die. That all of that was definitely true. It's definitely crazy, but they actually got like 2.3 million views that night on Spike. So that's crazy.
So it is. It's spectacle. It gets views, but it makes it look fake. Like that Ken Shamrock versus Kimbo fight. Yeah. Everybody thinks that one was staged.
Also, he failed his drug test.
Yeah, well, that was after the Royce Gracie.
Yep. Fight. That was after he failed, and also. Who else failed this week?
Frank Mir. Oh,
and big news.
Frank. I mean, I don't know.
Frank Mir coming off the loss to.
Yeah, that's bad when you lose a fight and you test positive.
Coming off that KO loss to Hunt, dropped him, and now we find out that he failed for PED. Are they going to suspend him? Is he going to retire? What's going to happen?
Yeah, if he gets a suspension he says if like 2 years, he's retiring because. There's really no point left.
Man.
So, I mean, age is taking its toll, so...
He's a legend. He's
honestly, I think...
How long do they usually suspend for?
It depends. I don't know. Has he ever popped?
Has he ever failed the drug test before?
Well, Yoel Romero just got his revoked down to 6 months from 2 years.
Don't get me. I still don't believe that. Look at Yoel Romero. Come on. The guy's juicing.
I know, but I don't want to say anything. But he actually, I heard the whole story. He ended up crying. It really sounded like he was really sincere about it. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that another time. Yeah, that was hilarious. Don't forget gay Jesus.
You forget Jesus, not gay Jesus. Oh my God! And then any way you tried to play that, there was no way they could have made that look good. Like he tried to come out with a statement the next day, like sorry you misunderstood my English. No, you just gay bash to the entire nation.
All right, so if you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, Evil Eddie. You find me on Twitter at evil_echo. I'm here joined by
Zuko
and the beautiful, wonderful
Andrea Jablonski.
So tomorrow morning starts UFC in Croatia for the very first time. In the very first fight, we got Moroz versus the Barbie Stancio. So Moroz is 6-1, coming off a loss to Valerie Letourneau. She has 5 wins by submission, 1 knockout.
Should we Calderwood?
No, she beat Joan Calderwood.
Did she?
Yep.
Was that on the show or?
No. She's 6-1. Her only loss is to Valerie Letourneau, and her opponent is actually from Romania. Hasn't really fought that many big cards.
Yeah, that's the problem with this card. First off, it's early in the morning, or not morning, but midday it starts up.
Over here in New York.
Yeah.
A couple of our viewers are actually from Canada on our analytics thing. I'll show you after.
But a lot of these fighters are from there as well, and they're not,
2 viewers from Poland
biggest
last
names. Time. I mean, I haven't heard of quite a few of these fighters, honestly, but.
Yeah, but she's never fought like big UFC events. She's undefeated, which is kind of cool. She has 3 wins by submission, 1 knockout, 1 decision. I am not sure on both of these fighters. I'm not that big of a follower of them, but I'm going for Moroz in this. She's the 6-1 fighter with 5 wins by submission, and not the debut fighter.
It should be Joanne then. I definitely am.
After that, we got Igor the Duke. He's a hometown fighting in Croatia. He has 14 knockouts, 8 submissions, 3 decisions.
Igor Prokrak.
Yep. And he's an amazing striker. He's durable. Yep. For main card. So we got Igor the Duke, and he's coming off 4 losses. That's the whole thing. And he's fighting John Blachowicz, who's.
I don't really know John Blachowicz. I know he's had a fight. He was originally scheduled to fight Rumble at one point, and everybody was like, "Really? Who's this guy fighting Rumble?" And then the fight randomly got changed, and I don't remember who he ended up fighting. But that was the only time I ever heard of Blachowicz. I think he ended up fighting, it was Corey Anderson, right?
Yeah, he lost to Corey Anderson. He's coming off of 2 losses as well.
Shogun, right?
That was at UFC 191. He has really good striking accuracy, but in this fight, I think I'm going for Blachowicz. I got Blachowicz winning in this by knockout.
Blachowicz by knockout?
You got the Duke? You got the Duke? You got Blachowicz?
Prokrak.
Yeah?
Because that's the name I know.
So you're going for Igor?
Igor.
All right, moving on. We got Timothy Johnson versus Marcin Tybura from Poland.
Who versus who?
Timothy Johnson versus Marcin Tybura.
I gotta go with Marcin Tybura.
So Marcin's his debut fight?
Yep, this is his debut fight.
Marcin Tybura from Poland?
Yep, that's not the same Marcin that you know.
No, I know, but he's from Poland.
Timothy Johnson's 9-2. He's 31 years old. He's 6'3". He lost to Jared Rossholt.
He is currently no longer in the UFC. 6-2 record, and he gets cut.
Yep, that's because he's not that exciting.
Yeah, he wasn't exciting. He was a lay and pray wrestler type of.
Johnson was 6 knockouts, 3 submission wins, and like I said, he's 9-2. And Marcin is 13-3 with 5 knockout wins, 6 submissions, 2 decisions. This is his UFC debut. He's 6'3" as well.
Oh, it is?
Yep, it's his UFC debut.
I'm gonna root for him.
So Angie Dabs goes for Marcin.
I'm gonna root for Marcin, I guess.
And I'm going for Johnson. So this is part 3 of what we were trying to do live stream. A little technical difficulty. Starts in 3 parts. I'll fix it all for YouTube. Yeah. But we're talking about tomorrow morning's fights. We're now at the co-main event. We're talking about Gabriel Gonzaga versus Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is 14-4. He has 13 knockout wins, 1 by submission, amazing accuracy, and really good at avoiding takedowns. Gabriel Gonzaga, who's a very experienced veteran fighter.
Really good jiu-jitsu.
17-10 record. He's 36 years old, but he has 9 knockout wins, 7 submissions, and only 1 decision. Really good at avoiding takedowns again. Yeah, he's Crow Cop, right? That's Gonzaga. And Derek Lewis is also a beast and a half, you know what I mean? So in this fight,
yeah, I got Derek Lewis for this fight.
I have Derek Lewis winning this fight.
I'm going with Derek Lewis too, but hey, remember, Gabriel Gonzalez, first off, this is the second win of his UFC career. He came in, they cut him for a little while. He won a few on the smaller circuits, came back up. But before that, he had, like you said, Crow Cop with the high kick knockout. He even fought Randy Couture for the title. He was in title contention at one point. Now he's come back. He's won a few, lost a few.
His last fight wasn't that big of a name.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to get, he's the bottom of the top fighters. He's not, the biggest name. But I think this is a good fight for both of them. Gonzaga's crazy good jiu-jitsu. Only problem with Gonzaga is he trains in a gym where he's the best guy there.
So there's no pushing, room for him.
Like where you got AKA, you have Cormier and Velasquez and Rocco. Yeah. They're all pushing each other. Gonzaga is. How many times have you heard of Team Link?
Not many times.
Team Link out of Worcester, Mass. We're in Connecticut. We don't really you never hear of it. It's he's the best guy there. It's hurting his career. I think he needs to go somewhere else, and he can be a big deal. But
I agree with that, man. I definitely agree with that. Derek Lewis is, like I mentioned, 14-4. He has a 1-inch height advantage. Really good striking accuracy. He has about 59% significant strike accuracy. I don't see this fight going to the ground. I see this going to be a bang fight, early KO by Derek Lewis.
Yeah, let's be honest. He's got 14 wins. 14 have been finished.
13 have been knockouts.
13 knockouts, 1 submission, no decisions. This guy is not leaving it to the judges.
That's no joke.
He is knocking people out. You're
not afraid.
He is winning the fights. It's no chance for the judges. So that's impressive.
Oh yeah,
all
definitely.
100% finishing rate on his wins.
He's a big dude too.
Oh yeah. Scary big.
He came in tonight at 264 pounds. Gonzaga came in at 262.
Yeah, they're both big guys.
All right, so the main event. Well, first you said you had Derek Lewis, right? So Derek Lewis. All 3 Pure Evil MMA votes go to Derek Lewis. All right, so the main event tomorrow. I think it's going to be around 4 o'clock, maybe over here. I think the main card starts at 2. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Prelims at 11 a.m. Main card starting at 2 p.m. So this fight will probably be about 4, maybe.
Yeah, probably around there.
All right, so we got Ben Rothwell, who's coming off a huge win.
He's been hot.
He's been really a 4-fight win streak. He just choked out the submission artist with the go-go choke.
Josh Barnett. Yeah, Metamore is champion and everything, and he submits him.
Ben Rothwell, veteran fighter, 36-9, 6'4", 27 knockouts, 6 submission wins, 3 decisions. Very good at avoiding the takedown, and he's going against JDS Junior Dos Santos, who has a 17-4 record, 32 years old. At one point in time, this man was unstoppable and really believed in himself until he met Cain Velasquez, where the first fight, which was on Fox, I think was one of the biggest.
Fight,
he beat Cain, and then in the second fight in that rematch, his egg got fried.
Yeah, and then when they fought again, same thing happened.
And he hasn't been the same. We keep saying this. He hasn't been the same since this fight.
We've touched on this one plenty of times where, he just doesn't look as good. He went up against Stipe. He has a win over Stipe, but to be honest.
Well, his last fight he lost against Overeem.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
Ben
he's got the win over Stipe, who's about to fight for the belt.
Yep.
But Stipe looked nowhere near as bad as Junior Dos Santos at the end of that fight. What do you got?
Who do you got winning this fight? Well, first off, Junior Dos Santos is 17-4. All right. He has 13 knockouts, 1 submission, 3 decisions. Who do you like in this?
Ben Rothwell.
She has Big Ben Rothwell. I have Big Ben Rothwell by submission in the second.
I'm calling this. First off, it's going to be a knockout.
It's going to be a knockout.
I don't see it being.
You don't see go choke.
They both have so much power between the two of them. This is going to be a knockout. And I want to give it to Junior Dos Santos. I want to take the little bit of faith still there. I want to just have the faith that he'll come through.
All right, so We bang heads on that one, which makes a definitely exciting main event tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in to Pure Evil MMA with your host, Evil Eddie, joined with my co-host,
Matthew Bazzucco.
And
Andrew Jablonski.
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at evil_echo, ECCO. You can find Mateo at
Mazuke88, MAZUKE88.
And
really use it though.
Andrew Jabs.
And ANGLYNNJABS0. Angelin Jabs 0.
All right.
I'll change that.
Thanks for tuning in. All right, so I'll edit that video.